Hello everyone, this is your anchor Deepa Rani, and it's giving me immense pleasure to welcome you all this morning at the Mumbai International Film Festival for a masterclass that will illuminate the intricate process of shaping characters through editing. But before we start, we extend our gratitude to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, the National Film Development Corporation, and the Satyajit Ray Film and Television Institute, Kolkata. Today, we are honored to have with us Mr. Ollie Huddleston, sir, an award-winning film editor with 3 decades of experience in television and cinema documentaries. His remarkable work has been recognized with 2 Royal Television Society Awards for editing and nominations for a British Academy of Film and Television Arts Award. His films have garnered international acclaim, winning prizes at prestigious film festivals including Cannes, IDFA, and Sundance. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to welcome Mr. Ollie Huddleston, sir, on stage. So please join me in welcoming him with a warm round of applause. Mr. Ollie Huddleston, sir, whose expertise in film editing has shaped compelling characters and narratives that resonate with audiences worldwide. I would now like to request Mr. D. Ramakrishnan, sir, General Manager, National Film Development Corporation, to felicitate our esteemed guest. Thank you so much, Mr. D. Ramakrishnan, sir, for this warm gesture. So, ladies and gentlemen, with regards to the question and answers, we will take all your questions at the end of the session. So, hold your queries until then. So now, without any further delay, I would now like to invite Mr. Ollie Huddleston, sir, to share his journey and insights on shaping characters through the art of editing. All over to you, sir.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Really nice to be here. Thanks so much for inviting me. It's a great, great honor. I always love coming back to India. I think I read a very good joke from Robin Williams, the American comedian. He said that the human brain is an extraordinary organ. It starts working as soon as you're born, and it doesn't stop until you get up to speak in public. So I know exactly what that's like. But it's great to be here, and I was hoping that maybe you would ask me questions sort of earlier rather than at the end, because the more interactive it is, the more enjoyable it is for everybody. So feel free to ask as many questions as you like. I've been editing for 30-something years. I've kind of lost count. And shaping characters is hugely important. But I thought I'd first start talking about the kind of process that I go through and how I have to work. Well, I'll tell you what. Can someone, there's a JPEG, a photo of me. This is what I look like when I'm editing. That's a really good visual representation of my head. I was working on a film, and the guy had 36 different interviewees for an 80-minute documentary. And needless to say, we got rid of about 20 or 25 of them. But anyway, it was all around the room. I have a shed where I was working in my garden, and that's what it feels like. But anyway, let's get back. I'll talk you through the process of me editing. So someone will come to me and ask me to work on their films. And I'd say it's such a psychological process, editing. It's such a difficult mindset that I have to get myself into. I love it, and there's magic that's created, but it's definitely a very psychological game that you're playing with yourself almost. It's almost like the more calm I am, the better I am as an editor, because there's so many different pressures. There's the pressure of the participant doing the right thing by the people in the film. There's the pressure of the director, who's sometimes been working for years to finish this film, or to get to even to editing the film. Then there's the people with the money, and if you're lucky enough to get good money for it, or have a commission. And then there's the story, doing the right story. So I guess doing right by the story, and I guess my sort of philosophy is to leave no stone unturned. So I'm not very, it's about staying as relaxed as I possibly can be. And so someone will come to me, ask me to edit their film, I'll sit down with them and ask lots and lots of questions. In a way, it's the most important part of editing for me. I find it the most tiring because you're sitting, absorbing what this person has been filming for sometimes for years. But my process is to make notes. I'm old school, I write in a notepad. But it's really, really, really important for me, my emotional response to the material. Because in a way, it's the only time I'm in the same place as the audience. It's the only time I'm fresh to it. It's like the moment. I need to be really concentrated. So watching for hours and hours, sometimes weeks. I mean, I did a film about a rock band in the UK. He'd filmed nearly 200 hours. It took like 5 weeks to watch it. I was absolutely exhausted, but the process of having it written down in a book is like having a menu. It's like having the Bible, the Quran, whatever. It's there. And I never need to panic that I won't know where things are because I have it in my book. I would strongly, strongly, strongly advise some form of notes. So let's get on to shaping character then. So I'm sitting and I'm watching. And the better, as I've got older, I get better. I think I get better at editing. I'm more relaxed at editing. I can start to not edit as I'm watching, that would be too cool. But I can actually think about the process, or I can think about sequences and order better. And I can think, I watch something, and I can know that that might be the end of the scene, or the beginning of the scene. There's a way in which, but it's like I'm saying to you, it's all about relaxing my mind. Because what's weird about editing sometimes is that I can do something and watch it the next day and think, I don't remember doing that. It's quite good, isn't it? That's what happens. That the calmness that I need to be really helps me do good edits, make sense of the story. So I'm going to show you. I'm gonna show you a film called Dreamcatcher. It's a film about sex workers in Chicago, and I have to warn you just that it's quite emotional material. Some of it's about sexual abuse, some of it's about drug abuse, and if anyone finds or is worried about, I just hope it doesn't trigger anybody. That's why I am. So if you're nervous about that kind of stuff, and please don't worry and walk out if it's too much. But you don't see it, but people talk about some difficult stuff. So, I've worked with Kim Longinotto on 10 films. It's the most I've ever worked with anybody. She's a fabulous director, and she came to me, it was about 10 years ago. It's quite an old film, but I thought if we concentrated on one film, then you would get to see how the character of Brenda, the main character, develops. So Kim came, and I think she'd had a good time on the shoot. She's an incredibly patient person. She films it herself. She's an incredibly patient person. Once she came to make a film in Tamil Nadu about a poet, politician, Salma. And I said, did you film straight away? And she said, no, I came to meet Salma and I didn't film for like 2 weeks. The relationship that you create as a filmmaker and also as an editor between you and the material and the people is hugely, as I'm sure you know, if you're all filmmakers, that's it. That's the holy grail, that's the gold. So anyway, with Brenda, I think she got on straight away. Brenda had been working as a sex worker for 20-something years. Now works for a charity called Dreamcatcher, helping to keep young women from the streets and to stop kids in school, girls in school, from being lured into the street by unsavory characters. So the thing in terms of shaping characters, not like in any film really, you have to create an expectation in your audience. They have to want something. They have to want to see something. They have to want to know something. Sometimes it can be a good thing, sometimes it can be a bad thing, but you're taking them on a journey. And like I said about being calm and relaxed, because you know where the material is, time codes written down, all that kind of stuff. At the beginning of the film, you're creating a relationship between filmmaker and audience. And so there's a kind of pact between you and them. It's like saying, I've got you, I'm holding you, I've got a great story, watch this. So what I'm about to show you is the beginning of the film, and I was talking with Nilopal earlier today and saying, it's so funny when you watch a film that's cut, because you think, oh, that's very simple. Oh, you knew exactly where you were going to go. We didn't know where we were going to go. It's a process that evolves. But it's this careful watching. And I'm going to take you a little bit through it. We haven't got very long, but I'm going to take you a little bit through Dreamcatcher and how the edit developed and how finding the character developed. So, yeah. I was going to ask, I don't think we've got, I was going to tell you what I think are the 3 main reasons for having an editor. I don't know why I came up with this, but it just happened one day. So I guess it's storytelling, that's the main one. But then there's a rhythm, because people often talk about rhythm, but it's like breath. It needs to, you need the information when you need the information. You need the impact when you need the impact. It's that simple and that difficult. But the other is, so storytelling is one, rhythm is another, and distance to the story. I mean, Kim is an amazing director. When she's filming, she will write down in a little book how long she thinks that the scene that she's just filmed will be in the final film. I don't know anybody else that does that, but it's incredibly useful. Obviously, she's experienced, she's more kind of my kind of age. But it's a great discipline to think of, is what you're filming, how long, what kind of story it is. So she's thinking about the story as she's filming, rather than just filming. She's thinking about the beginning, middle, and end of a story. So, let's have a look at Dreamcatcher. The opening scene, I don't remember, it's quite a long time ago now, but it's about creating some kind of intrigue for Brenda. And it's about wanting to know her. I wouldn't say you fall in love with her, but you're wondering who she is when you watch her. So I'm going to show you the first 5 minutes of Dreamcatcher, set on the streets of Chicago. So can you play clip 1, please? Turn it off a bit. Volume, please.
is the Buzzardville right here, girl. It's like the guys hang out here right now more than the girls right now, you know.
That's Peppy, ain't it?
Is that Peppy?
Look like
Girl, go back there and get that hoe.
that's what had this fool gonna run into me.
Wait a minute. Okay, slow down, slow down. You're gonna go up and down these blocks. Make a left, make a right.
Which
That's
one?
ready to
Left
go.
or
There you
right?
go, right there.
Okay, it's a car over there.
Yeah. Yeah, that look like a baby, don't it?
Ooh, see, what is car at? What this car doing?
Wait,
You see, he said I got my signal.
sweetie, you need condoms. This hoe, she keep on.
baby? Okay.
You want some condoms? You know you want some. Come here. You okay? Go nowhere.
This guy had stopped me, he was about 19 years old. And when I looked down here, I hit an artery, and blood started pouring out like a water fountain.
Oh my God.
So I grabbed my waist, I'm like, what the hell you do to me? And then by that time, he stabbed me here. But now he's stabbing me, and I'm just punching him, and I'm telling her, why won't he die? You know what I'm saying? But my mind was slipping, and I passed out. The drugs, I have to stop. I broke down crying to my friend. So don't let me wake up, Lord. In the morning, I don't want to wake up. I'm too scared to take my own life, but in a way, I wish somebody would. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how many people died with 2, 3 stab wounds? And here I am, got stabbed 19 times, and I'm still here. This friend of mine, just the other day, she puts my hand to her chest. She's been stabbed so many times. And I look, and I'm crying, I'm like, oh my God, and I raise up her shirt, she's been stabbed. I'm crying, I'm holding her. This was just this week, and I'm holding her. She died in my arms. And I just, you know, it just messed me up. Because here it is, they get stabbed, they this, they that, and they die, and I stab, and I'm still here. This and that, and it confused me at times because I want peace. I really don't want to be living. First, I dropped out of school, and I started dating, older man that was older than me, and my whole family. My mother, I was born cracking my sister, whatever.
You was born with crack in your system?
Yeah. But I've been going through a lot of stuff though. Like I ain't had my mama when I was little, you know, and it was from curiosity though. I mean, one day I just tried it and I liked it. And
Here you are. How long? And so you've been out here prostituting so you can get high, right? You're 19 years old.
And my mama was adopting me. She's 80 years old, and you know that's the only mama I know. But like, you know now, I mean, I'm just out here by myself. You know, I ain't got nobody.
Have you ever thought about getting off drugs and doing something with your life?
It's okay, baby. It's all right, sweetheart.
Oh man, I was shooting up. I was doing everything. It's just all pain every day.
TT, you know what? I used to be right out here too. You know what I'm saying? From that hotel to that corner, from that hotel to that corner. That's what I did. You know what I'm saying? Hiding from myself, actually. You know what I mean? I know what pain is. And I know you're in a lot of pain. If you want somebody that's gonna care for you unconditionally, T, we're here to do that. So you didn't know about this. You didn't know there was some women like that here, did you? You didn't know that there was somebody that you could reach out and hold your hand till you could learn how to walk. And that's what we do.
We understand right now that you're in the midst of what's going on out here, okay? We did it all, been high and all of that, so we understand. Right now, you're in the midst of what's going on. So are you ready to get help tonight? You know, we're not here to pressure you or judge you. We just want to know when you're ready. So you can call us. Do you know the name of this organization? The Dream Catcher Foundation.
You got any dreams?
Catch your dream. You got any dreams you want to catch? And when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you call us, let us help you.
Okay. Getting the rhythm right, getting the feel of the film right, involving the audience is crucial at the beginning. I think it took a long time to do that. I remember Kim came back from Chicago with some aerial shots of Las Vegas. There's a scene later on in the film that's filmed in Las Vegas. And someone had given her a helicopter shot. I can't remember why, but they had. It was a beautiful shot of lights in Las Vegas. And I said, well, why don't we do let's buy a helicopter shot for the beginning of the film. Because in a way, you need to know that in this richness, there's this poverty and pain. So that's kind of how the scene sort of became what it is. I guess watching it now, when she says, I know that pain, or I know your pain, I understand your pain, for me, that's the kind of hook of the scene. It's the crucial sentence of the scene. It's like you're saying to the audience, you're gonna meet Brenda, you're gonna know Brenda, she's gonna tell you where that pain came from. And plus her beauty, her strength, her eloquence, her warmth and her humanity is just, sounds a bit naff, but she's an amazing character. I think she's someone from that scene that you want to know. So then there's a scene that comes straight away afterwards. How are we doing for time? Yeah, this was the most important scene. Sometimes when I'm editing, I need to follow my instinct because that's all I have. It's like coming here, if I'm asked to help on rough cut works and stuff like that, I think, will I know what to say? But if someone asks your opinion, then that's all you have, is your opinion, your instinct. You just have to believe in yourself. And I've got better at believing in myself, much better, so that's good. In Dreamcatcher, this second sequence, which actually follows straight on from this one, is where you get to meet Brenda. You're connected with her. She's someone that you know and want, or will start to know, and you want to know. But more importantly, having watched the rushes for weeks and weeks and weeks, we felt, or I felt, because I kind of followed my instinct and I said, that's the scene I'm going to start editing first. I need to know if that scene can work. She gives a talk about her life in a church, and because we couldn't show the audience, like we wouldn't be able to film you now, we had to find a different way to tell that story, and we use photographs, as you'll see. So I guess the other thing in shaping character is never be nervous about using different styles. If you want to cut in photographs, animation, whatever it is, cut it in, make it work, make us as an audience believe in that. So if you can show clip 2, this was the very first thing I edited, and I even had music on the edit that was slightly similar to the final. Luckily we got a composer to do the final music in the film, but the music's very similar. It's the kind of slow simmering. I find music, in terms of character, in terms of how I feel about the material, very important. Even if it's not music that I'm going to use in the film, it either calms me down or makes me feel what the film is about, or the kind of emotional power of the film. So have a look at this scene. This is when we meet Brenda for the first time, properly. Clip 2, please.
There's a girl that I know. She came from the west side of Chicago. Her mother died when she was 6 months old. She was put into the care of her grandmother. Her grandmother was an alcoholic, you know, went to work every day, but physically, emotionally, mentally abusive to her. And she started getting molested at the early age of 4 or 5. Sometimes the people that her grandmother had keeping an eye on her were some of the people that molested her. She used to sit in the window, and they lived in an area where prostitutes worked up and down the street. And she used to watch these ladies all the time. But these ladies looked kind of shiny. And all she ever wanted to be was shiny. She never wanted anything else. And she asked her grandmother one day, what are those women doing? She said, well, those women get in cars and take off their panties and men give them money. She put a little dress on and her little cheap shoes, and she went down to an area where she knew where prostitutes worked. And she got into the car with her first customer. As he was on top of her, she cried. But she got out because she kept hearing her grandmother's voice saying, you need to bring some money into this house. And then she got into the next car. When she got into the next car, she started crying, and she asked the man, she said, please, don't do this. Because she thought about what she had done, and she had gotten too far, but it was too late by then. Her life was 25 years in prostitution. That young lady got shot 5 times, stabbed over 13 times. At the end of the road, she got in the car with a guy who drug her 6 blocks, tore all the skin off her face and her body, and she thought she would never have a face again. All she asked for was her face back and to make her a lady, because she could never remember being a lady, and she just wanted her face back. And today, that young lady stands before you, a lady with a face. This is crazy. Oh no, I had one on last night and I wanted to put it back on today. It's, you know, it's my new look. Oh, you got a new. Yeah. I didn't see it. I don't know where my hair is. Okay, I'll put on another hair. But see, when I change hairs, I change personalities. Oh, I know where my hair is. In the hair thing. No, maybe. You get it? No, it's not in here. It's not in here. Which one is this one? I like that one too. You like this one? I don't like this one. You know. I love it, but it's not, I don't feel it today. Right now I'm still trying to figure out what I'm gonna put on, you know. Because I felt like that hair, you know, it was like fun, springy, and I felt like that. Now I'm thrown off. So I gotta get thrown back on. It's hard to have a sister, ain't it? It's hard to trust women again after being out there in the streets for so long.
So, I guess, thanks. I guess what I'm trying to say to you is you're taking the audience on a journey into the character. So there's a promise in that scene that Kim shot. There's a closeness. You need to, not always, every film is completely different, but in this film there's a promise of closeness, and you're going on a journey, incremental steps into knowing this person. And she's an amazing, wonderful woman. I've met her several times when we finished the film. But that beautiful bit where she's nervous, she's not the sassy woman that's brave there. Has a lot of pain that she's holding. But there's a promise of closeness. So me as an editor, as a storyteller, I'm bringing you incrementally closer. That's my plan. That's always what I'm going for. It depends on the film. The film with all the post-it notes was a film about a party in Iran. It's not about getting close to a character, it's getting to understand history, the context of history. But it is a movement you're inside a story. What I'm always trying to do is make the audience feel they're inside the story, because for me, documentaries are life is so incredible, but what happens to people, how they live their life, how they survive things. If you can get an audience to experience, if I could get you to feel what it's like to be Brenda for one and a half hours, then I've won. I think that for me, the best documentaries is when I really experience something. But there's so many different kinds, and I love them all, but that's what I'm trying to do here. So, what else? Anybody got any questions, by the way? No, I haven't heard anything from anybody. Just shout them out. Yeah, go for it. Just shout it loud.
Good morning, sir.
Hello.
I'd like to talk to you about your workflow for sound design. I hear there is voiceover, there is background music, and there is ambience. And what was your process for capturing sound?
Sure.
It made a big impact. You know, it was very. I could, you know, just.
I can't edit unless the sound works. I mean, I don't have to have 30 tracks and layers of beautiful Chicago soundscape. I don't mean that. I mean making a dialogue edit work. I'm feeling that I'm there. It's this thing of experience again. The other reason I wanted to show you that clip is it's got it's got storytelling in a caption. It's got a story caption, and a lot of people think, "Oh God, I'm not making a documentary if I've got voiceover or a storytelling caption." I don't believe in that. I think you need to know whatever it is you need to know to get you inside that story. And that's quick. That just says Brenda doesn't get paid. She works with people in jail. It's like, finished, story done. No one's going to notice that. It doesn't matter. You don't have to make an observational film to make a great documentary. And so I just wanted you to see that. Sound. Probably it was quite well funded, that film. So we had an amazing sound recordist who actually did the sound for Barbie. Yeah. Now I think she just won lots of prizes for us, so she's not in documentary world anymore. Nina Rice, she's fabulous. The sound in that film is spectacularly good, the radio mics and all that kind of stuff. It was before she'd made it big. Yeah, I mean, like everything, the sound, people forget how important sound is. It gives you so much emotion. You think it's the picture's everything. It's not, the sound is. So the fact that it's mic'd close with a lavalier mic, you feel like you're next to Brenda because she's talking to you. Whereas if you were on a gun mic and you're far away and there's masses of echo, it doesn't give you that same closeness. And feeling close to a character or a story is hugely, hugely important. Yeah, we would have had someone to help us put lots of sound. I seem to remember dogs barking at the beginning and sirens and stuff. I mean, you have to be careful not to overload it so that people go, yeah, you know, but sound is crucial. Yeah, sound is crucial. So what I was going to show you another clip. There's a character that Brenda meets who was her pimp at one point, and he's rather amazing. And this is another, you know, you're not stuck in it being an observational film. You can have interviews. Why not? Do an interview. So Kim does this amazing interview with a pimp, or ex-pimp. You meet him this is not the first time you meet him, this is the second time. But I think she just decided that she needed, in order to understand the kind of world that Brenda had come from, she wanted to get an interview with Homer, the tricky guy. He comes to talk to some of the girls that she works with in schools, and he tries to tell them of the difficulties, the pain of working the streets. But this is the second scene with him after that. It's an interview with Homer, which Kim does, and it's also got photographs in it because Kim doesn't like shooting cutaways. At the beginning, there's always a lot of kind of traveling shots. She likes that, but she's totally obsessed with the sync, with the connection, with the storytelling that the character gives her. So we had a lot of photographs and we put some of those in this scene. So if we could show clip 3, it's about Homer, who was a pimp for Brenda. Thank you.
Being a little boy was very frightening. So I found my own means of escape. And I guess that's probably what helped spawn the the alter ego along the way. Getting outside of me, I didn't have to deal with me. I let my alter ego deal with that. Yeah, a lot of damaged goods.
And who was the alter ego?
Fancy.
And what was he like?
He was the total opposite of Homer. He wasn't loving and caring. Driven by greed. Eventually turned into a drug addict.
Do you have any idea why your dad was so angry? Do you know why?
No, I don't. No, I really don't. Never really asked him. I got a chance to meet my grandparents. They're pretty angry people themselves. So he became a product of what they were. And by them living in a rural area in the country of Mississippi, he didn't have the opportunities to do the things that the big city offered me. Or he probably would have went the same route I did, or worse. To say when the violence would occur, it occurred when it occurred. At any given moment, the house could go up. And then with her not leaving, it solidified that, okay, this might be the way it works. My whole idea was the sooner I can get out of here, the better. And when I say out of here, I mean this exact home where we're at right now. I wanted out of here. It was not beautiful to me. All I knew was I wanted to escape. I didn't wake up one day saying I wanted to be a pimp. That's not what happened. I never was one for guns and things like that. But of course, I became a criminal, short con player, and pimping. That's because most of my life, that's what I spent my life in, the pimp game. But in the beginning, you have to understand, I had not a clue, not an idea that I would cause this much pain. I thought it would be something real cool. And time went on, it became business, serious business. Fortunately, I've never been to prison. I don't really even have a jail record. And that's probably why I chose it. But then some people can adapt to jail. I don't like a lot of confinement. I don't like someone telling me when I have to get up, lay down, eat. No. And because I had a way with the women, I can't quite explain what it was. I'm not the most handsomest guy in the world, but I was always able to connect, listen, and talk, because I was vulnerable. Very. Now, him, on the other hand, I'm not sure if he really understands how much damage he actually caused through his violence.
Pimping ain't no life. No life in there. It's electric streets, no end.
I remember one day me and my father having a conversation. I said, Pops, let me ask you something. How do you really feel about me, what I do? And I didn't stop at the time, but it did have an impact on my life. I asked him, how did he feel? Because I thought, with us both being men, that this would be the coolest thing in the world. I got more than one woman, I can do what I want. But his answer was totally opposite of what I expected. He told me, he said, son, how do you think I feel?
What about you, Martha? How do you feel about your son now?
I feel better about him. Yeah. I would feel much better if he really give himself to God. Man, that would really be amazing.
Yeah. I think the other thing I'm looking for in creating characters and editing generally is layers. Layers of stories. So it's not just Brenda, it's not just Stephanie who drives with Brenda, it's not just the people in the prison. It's the pimps, it's the kids. There's lots of different characters in this film. And so you're understanding the poverty, where he comes from, the violence at home. We're trying to create as many layers as we can to the complexity of her life and their lives. And once again, I say to you, you know, if you need to interview someone or you feel the need to put an interview, I mean, it's a great interview. He's looking straight at Kim, but he's an amazing storyteller. It's a bit unfair to show you that scene without his introduction, but anyway, I just wanted to make the point that use whatever tools you can to tell the story that you want to tell, and just be ballsy with it, just go for it. You get to meet him. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say. People often talk about structuring films, you know, is it a 3-act structure, setup, conflict resolution? I don't really, I mean, I think about it, but I don't have like those cards that I have at the beginning with, you know, and then I put one there saying setup, and then I have another one, I'm in the next chapter, conflict, and the last one, resolution. It's not like that. But in that scene, within scenes, I'm definitely thinking of the structure, of how you start off thinking, oh, maybe he's okay, because the previous scene you've seen with him, he's sort of an okay guy. But as the film goes on, even in that sequence, you're thinking, oh God, he had a hard time, but look at all the terrible things he must have done. As you go through the film, you get to know him. You really get to know what kind of guy he is. So, structurally, yeah, I guess, rather than set up conflict resolution, it's like, when are you closest to someone? When are you understanding that person most? That's what I'm heading for. And I think the scene I told you in Las Vegas, you really see what a kind of bastard he is. So, it's just a feeling. It's not, it's not a formula. It's definitely not a formula. It's the journey that you're on, and when you feel that the journey ends, really. How are we doing for time, guys? Okay, oh good, 11:14. So, any more questions? Ask me another question, anybody, just shout it out. Otherwise I'll play you another clip. Let's move on a bit to more finding out who Brenda is. Also layers. This is another layer in character. It's Brenda at home, and the kid that she adopts, and the mother of her child. That child is another layer. Okay, click 4, please.
Get the ball! 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 Where you going? Get that ball! No ball, right. Watch the ball! Get the ball! Get the ball! Get the ball! Right, there you go. Watch the ball! Get the ball! Get the ball! Good job, Dirty Joe. Good job. What that do? What's her name?
This will be the 8th play of this drive. And he takes it.
I can't allow this. I can't allow this. This is a Murray.
The offense heads to the line for the 7th play of the drive. Looking to the right side in front. That's a touchdown. Boy, it is something to watch, isn't it? A Hail Mary pass goes for a touchdown.
Hey, who was your first mommy?
Mommy.
Mm-hmm. Who took care of you?
Oh, you.
Right. So you got 2 mommies, right? Which mommy you like the best? No, I'm just kidding.
You. Since I got a game here, so they gotta be you.
Since I got a game. When Jeremy first got with us, he just was in a trance until the guy who transports the children drives up in front of the door. Jeremy ran and hid in the closet, right? I didn't know much, you know, I hadn't had a lot of experience with Jeremy. So I'm looking for Jeremy and he's in the closet crying. And I said, what's wrong? What's wrong? And he kept pointing at the man. The man had transported him from placement to placement, and he thought the man came there to take him away again. And I remember grabbing that kid and saying to him, no, nobody's gonna take you anywhere. You will never leave again. No one will ever take you again anywhere. And that's when I made my decision that he was mine. It ain't easy. You had a lot of stuff happen to you in your life.
I have.
Okay, I know. You've told me. You said you should get beat for anything.
Yeah.
You know, and that you could not stand nobody to give no whooping. You couldn't even stand to see you can't do it. You know what I mean?
I couldn't. That's why I don't like my kids get whooped.
And that's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you told me, you said, I got beat all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that let me know that somebody tried to beat all the beauty out of you, beat all the life out of you, because you got something in you. You know what I'm saying?
My father was a policeman growing up. And basically, we had a good life, except, you know, like you said, when he wasn't going through whatever he was going through at the time. But basically, it was
He would beat y'all. Would he beat your mother?
Yeah, he spiked my mother.
So you saw that?
Yeah, he did. One day I went there trying to help her out. I said, I think I was like 15. I ran in there and I heard them hollering. And I ran in the room and I said, leave my mother alone. And he picked me up and threw me over the television and said, well, now that was rough. But I prefer him. At least I stopped him from doing that to her and got him off her then onto me. But that was all he did. And then he left out the door. And then,
You said that was all he did, but wasn't that enough?
Yeah.
See, sometimes I hear you talking, well, that's all he did. That was enough. We make excuses for people who do things to us because we love them.
Yeah.
When we love somebody, we make excuses for what they do. You know what I'm saying? You make excuses for my brother. Right? And there's no excuse. You understand what I'm saying? I feel you.
Oh, I can't believe I cut there. I mean, I love that when she says, I feel you. I don't cut there, the scene carries on. There's something I enjoyed watching it, even though I'm at a strange angle from the screen. It's about, I enjoyed when you cut to Jeremy, and you've seen him playing American football, and then you cut to the TV, and you cut from the TV to his face with Dad, with his adoptive father, and then I think it's the next cut where where Brenda explains how she adopted him. You cut and there's a pause. There's quite a long pause because you get to see him. You get to actually feel what it's like to be Jeremy. It's like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, but I enjoyed watching that now from this strange angle at the side of the screen. The rhythm, you have to show people what it is that they need to know, or what it is that you have to you're guiding them. As an editor, I'm guiding them what to look for. You want to get involved in that beautiful little boy. So let's just watch him for a few seconds so I can get the sense of who I think he might be, or what his story is. So I'm taking you, in this film, we are taking you, Kim and me, on a journey to understand Brenda. And in the time we have left, I just want to show you what I consider to be the scene where you know Brenda the best. She tells you all the difficult things. She shows she's most vulnerable, but she's most brave. And that is gosh, there's so many actually. We've got 8 minutes. Let's show clip 5. This is not the most vulnerable, there's one afterwards. Let's show clip 5. She's talking in the school where she's trying to make sure that none of these young women get involved in sex work. And she sees her daughter is there to help out in this talk. Clip 5, please. I abandoned my kids.
I appreciate life, I'm so glad that I'm alive. So I like what I see when I'm looking at me, when I'm walking past the mirror. I need y'all to come on with me. So I like what I see when I'm looking at me, when I'm walking past the mirror. Yeah, hey, y'all don't understand how to get the party popping.
This is my daughter, Dr. Ruth Vassell, and she'll tell you more about herself. She's a psychologist for adolescents.
What I'm here to do today is just want to talk to y'all. Whatever y'all want to talk about, whatever questions you all have about the discussion that you had with my mother a few weeks ago, just about molestation and sexual abuse. And then my mom also told me you all had questions for me in regards to just, I guess, you know, having heard my mom. So, well, you know, she said you guys had questions that you might have wanted to ask me about how that was, or some experience that me and my sister may have gone through growing up. So I'll open for first some questions, and I'll tell you a little more. Yes?
How did you feel when she told you she was a prostitute?
We always knew that, actually. There was a lot of different traumas that happened to us. You know, we were, my mother, you know, she was, of course, out on the street, and so my grandmother died when I was like 4. So at that point, we were just kind of put with everybody. We had a lot of strings of people that we lived with, like babysitters, my grandfather, and, you know, just, you know, left with a few different people in our lives. And of course, you know, through that process, I was sexually abused a couple times through that process of, you know, being with different family members who took advantage of that situation. And there were nights that we didn't have any food, barely had any clothes, you know, infested with like rats and roaches and different things like that. So we went through a lot of our own little different traumas as a kid, waiting for her.
How you really actually deal with that, like?
When I looked at her, I thought, okay, she's here with us now, she's smiling, the drugs are not here, so she loves us. But then I knew when she went on the street, that was her drugs, that's why we didn't hear from her, that's why she kind of was out there for all those years and things like that. And I think that's what we always understood, that it was my mother under the influence of drugs, under the influence of pain, under the influence of all the things that would happen to her as a child.
My mama did some things that she regret, and to this very day, I still take it out on her. So I don't actually talk to her at all. Like, I moved out and everything. Like, I don't have no communication with her. I don't want none.
Can I say something? Sure. When I told you, like, at one time I was going, and they didn't hear from me for like 12 years, right? I used to call the house, and I wouldn't say anything. I would just breathe on the phone. They would say stuff like, we're praying for you. We pray for you every night. And I was out in my madness. And that right there would keep me alive, because they didn't say, I hate you. They didn't say, I don't want to talk to you. They kept saying, hey, is this Mom, this you? We pray for you every night. And that made me say, my daughters are praying for me. And I remember I used to get out the phone and I used to look around at the people that I was hanging with. I was saying, my daughters are praying for me. You know, the shame kept me away. All the stuff that happened to me when I was young, I was running from it, and in the process, I ran from them. The last time that I saw them, I abandoned them. I abandoned them. You know what I mean? I mean, straight abandoned my kids. And I couldn't live with myself.
Ooh, she's amazing. I mean, the bravery to speak up like that, she's an amazing woman. But just to be, I don't know, because we're talking about editing, it's layers. Once again, layers. So you've met her on a day where she's very vulnerable. You've met her daughter, you've met her pimp, creating layers. But I mean, Kim is an amazing filmmaker, so she can be in. It's obviously, well, not obviously, but it's very clearly about a relationship. She can be in a room and film someone, and it's almost like she's not there. It seems to me. I don't think I've ever been there when she's filming. We've done 10 films together. But a lot of that is because she will have talked and had an amazing relationship with all these people. I was quite moved by that, and I haven't seen it for a while. She's amazing. I think we're nearly there, but I wanted to show you the toughest scene for Brenda, or I don't know if it's the toughest, but the closest you feel to Brenda. This is clip 6. There's a good end to this film. I like the end of this film. There's a lot of hope in it. There's a hope because she's so strong. There's a hope because she's confronting stuff. And amazing. She's an amazing, amazing woman. But this is kind of the scene that the character shaping, to my mind, leads us to. It's not, as I said before, set up conflict resolution. It's who is Brenda really right now, right here and now? And I always remember feeling that this was it in that way. But let's have a look at clip 6.
Basically, we all were animals out there at one time. I was animalistic also, the way that I treated the Johns. You know what I'm saying? The way that I went after people, because I prayed. I prayed on young girls in order to please somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And I remember one time I had copped a girl for my guy at that time was Cooley, and I had copped a girl for him, and brought her home, young girl, about 14 years old, and she looked just like me. He was in the bed with her, right? And usually I would join in on the little fatalities and stuff like that, but I didn't. I sat in the living room and I smoked a joint, right? And when she came out, I was looking at her, rolling her eyes, not because I was jealous, because it was like he had did me in there, and I was a baby. There are other times and there was no problem for me doing it. You know what I'm saying?
That's when you were numb.
There were times when I did it straight out of spite. Better her than me. So that's how you become the victimizer. You become. Because it's the only way to survive out there. You cannot survive out there and only be the victim.
I promise you.
I've been going through some emotions lately, and I really am kind of like I'm an emotional person, but I'm kind of emotional about this surgery, about not being with my family, about not doing my outreach, what my girls are gonna do while I'm down. I'm hoping that I prepared them well enough that they can be okay until I get well. And that's why I'm hoping that everything's gonna be okay. And even with 16 years out of the lifestyle, almost 17 years, I still get emotional, and I get sometimes these anxiety attacks, you know. Especially after I've seen a lot of clients, I can kind of
sometimes people think that, you know, you dress up, you look well, you make it to everything that you need to make it to, but they don't know how you're feeling on the inside. It takes a lot of work to continue to maintain trauma, stuff that you've been through. And just because I work with girls doesn't mean that I don't have my own days. I do have my own days. And in the last couple of days, I've been having a few moments.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, she's just amazing. She is just amazing. What was I going to say to you about that? Closeness. Just the patience of the way it's filmed. Not cutting. Waiting for her to speak. Waiting for her to say what she's feeling is really important in that scene. It's like, please tell me more. I want to know. As an audience, I'm saying. This is what we're feeling. Oh, I know what I was going to say. A lot of times people say to me, gosh, you work on some difficult films, and how is it? How do you get people, and it's mostly Kim, not always Kim, not me, in terms of the filming. But I think people say, why? How do you get people to be that open? And partly because she's an amazing filmmaker, an amazing woman, but I think people want to be heard. It's the absolute human basic, you know. Listen to me, I've got a story I need to say, I need to tell you. And there was an amazing email that Brenda sent to us, Kim and me, and I'll try not to be emotional when I read it. And so it's an email to Kim and me from Brenda. Look what we have done, Kim. This is after the film came out. We've made a difference with this film. I know, because the haters are hating and the well-wishers are wishing us well, LOL. But every time I see this, I think of you and Ollie, and I love you all over again. You really saw us as sensitive, important human beings, and that I love you forever for. You and Ollie's biggest fan. So that is better for me than any, you know, if you like the film, that's fabulous when you watch it. But if Brenda sees herself, if Brenda is happy with what she sees, that's the best that it can possibly be for me. And I remember getting a bit tearful when she sent that email when I first, this is like a long time ago. So it was an amazing experience. She's an amazing woman, and please ask me any questions.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's really, it was an engaging session. I just wanted to know how you balance art and reality, art with reality, especially when you work on a film like this. It's talk about the real situation, real people. So how you make the film more engaging, you know, without distorting the truth. You know, when editor in the editing table, his influence will be there. You know, like I want to know that, you know, the editor, it tells his own story or tells the filmmaker story, or he, you know, he unveil the reality and the real people as it is. So how you balance the rhythm with the, you know, to make the audience engage?
Yeah, good question. I guess I don't want to be noticed. When I first started editing, I wanted to be noticed because you've got a bag of tricks and it's very exciting, and you can slam some fabulous music on and look like you're really cool and images move fast. But I want you to, I don't want the art or Ollie or Kim or anybody else to interfere with your experience of Brenda and all those extraordinary people that she filmed, that Kim filmed. So I don't want people to see my art. I mean, the music is quite simple. I think there's one Snoop Dogg track in this film where you get Homer's experience, where you get Homer's lifestyle. But generally, say, the music and the images shouldn't really distract from the story ever. That's my kind of mantra. Sometimes you can make flashier films. I've worked on flashier films where things, you know, you need to make a statement with what it is that you're saying. But in this film, it's Brenda's story. Stay with Brenda. Don't interfere in any way with your own feelings about it. I mean, of course, I'm reacting. I mean, the reason why I think that scene in the car is so strong is because she's being amazing, telling us how she feels at that moment. but I hope we are not making art out of it. But it's a balance. You're trying to tell the story and give the information or the emotion to an audience at the right time. That's kind of what editing is. And it's difficult to pull off, and it involves you, me, Kim, whoever, you guys as filmmakers, watching over and over again, and concentrating on your film. You know, sometimes you have to watch it like 3 times in a week or something like that, especially near the end. And that is hard. And there are times when you're in that experience, and I'm like, I don't feel anything when I watch it. It's really, really, but what's weird is, and you think, oh my God, I won't be able to say anything, I haven't got any, but I just, with time and experience, I just know that I just have to walk away, and weirdly enough, 2 days later I can be watching it again, and then I suddenly feel it again. It's very strange. But it's like I said at the beginning, with that picture of me and all those post-it notes with all the scenes in the film, it's a deeply psychological process. It's very hard because you're being a deep sea diver for 4 months or whatever. I mean, I don't know how long that film took, maybe 4 or 5 months? 4 months probably. 12 to 16 weeks I think I've done on Kim's films, 90-minute ones. Once we did one in 6 weeks. She shot it on film, and she shot only 16 hours of film for a 90-minute. It's the first film we did together. Art and documentaries. Yeah, I don't want to be noticed. I basically do not want to be noticed. I don't want people to go, oh, that's very well editing. I want people to say Brenda's amazing and what an incredible impact she's having on people's lives. So forget that art, if possible. Any more questions?
Hi, you've said you made one history documentary as well. Which one do you like more? The ones like this, Brenda one, or the other one? And when you associate yourself or immerse yourself with the character, is it a good thing or a bad thing for your editing?
It's all you can do. I don't think I have a choice. I mean, the bravery and the strength of someone like Brenda, it's a duty. I have to tell the story as I hope she would want it to be. What was the first part of the question? Oh, which do I prefer? I prefer personal stories. This looks good to me. I haven't seen it for a while. It looks very strong. But I do like history. I mean, I've done lots of kind of different films. I've done films with no commentary, with no captions. You don't even know where you are. I mean, until someone mentions it in dialogue. But I'm determined that every time I do one, it's the film that kind of dictates, because what you do when you're editing is I'm waiting for the film to tell me what to do next. It's all about what's in the film, not about, as he was saying, about art. It's about what the film tells, because sometimes people, they say something like, the daughter said something, she's definitely going to make it in a film. That's an amazing piece of dialogue that she says with her mum. The film tells you what it is. The difficulty is listening to the film and keeping at bay all the other stresses that you might have in your life. I mean, I don't go into editing a film thinking, hey, I got this. I'm good, I've done it for 30 years, I'm good. I don't, I think, can I do it? Can I do it? Every time. And it's painful, but I think it sort of helps, but I don't do it on purpose. It's like you don't know, you never know. But if you can stay in that calm space, then there's a possibility that the film will talk to you. It really does. It's quite strange. Yeah.
And why do you need that? I mean, the language has become fast, so people, geniuses speak fast, or geniuses move their hands fast, or they work fast. What is the difference between US films, the rest of the nations? Why people have become so, and why don't you want, I mean, editor is the chief, he's half the director of the film, and he's got to synchronize link of events, and I mean, editor's job. Why didn't you ever want, editor, there's less prizes today compared to the director or the sound. We are laying emphasis, but we are forgetting the editor, who is the sole link between, there should be no jumps, and there should be a series of events happening. Editor is the most important man after the director and the cameraman, equal.
So is the question, should we get more recognition? Is that?
Yes, why don't you want to wait for yourself? Why
I'm not that kind of person. I've never wanted fame. I'm not interested in fame. No, I mean, if someone is brave enough to tell you a story like she's telling you, then my duty is to make that story as clear or as powerful and as fascinating and as life-affirming as it can be. So I'm not a person, and Kim's the same, you know, most filmmakers. I mean, I used to be really keen on getting a big prize because I was not good at school. I didn't go to film school. What I've learnt, I learned by doing it. But then after like 10 years of doing it or something, I'm like, oh, I fuck it with the prizes. It doesn't matter. No. Please don't applaud. That's nothing. It's just true. That's what I'm like as a person. But I did used to want to. But you know, just to be asked here to talk about, that's affirmation of what you did, what I've done. It's great. So, yeah. You're asking me also about the rhythm in American films. I mean, you know, it's faster. Things have got faster. I noticed that this is quite a measured film, but it's meant for a big screen. It's meant to be in the cinema. It's meant to be big, so you're meant to feel it. You know, things go faster on YouTube. But I think I will always edit slower because that's what I like. That's what I like to watch. It's an experience more if it's slower.
So we express our profound thanks to Mr. Ollie Huddleston, sir, for his inspiring contribution to today's masterclass. I am sure that each of us present here today are deeply mesmerized by your words, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we have a warm round of applause for sir once again?